You've seen these aura photos in No, I'm Not a Human, right? But what do they really mean? What does this photo show? What about this one? Today, let's talk about what these photos actually tell us. There's some surprising hidden details behind the colors. On day 6, there's a broadcast introducing a new sign for visitors, aura film photography. FEMA says you look for dark patches. It's a strong indicator that the guest might be a visitor. And then a word from the sponsors. Guess who they are? Surprise! It's AuraCam, a producer of aura film cameras. Apparently, it exposes the soul's energy, allowing you to distinguish a human from the hostile visitor. They say it's a foolproof way of detecting visitors, but is it really? Let's put it to the test. Okay, so what are we looking for? Black spots. Jarvis, let's pull up all the guests with black spots in their aura. The wheelchair guy is first. He's got black spots in the background, and he's a visitor. That's what we're looking for. If he's a human, he's got a different aura. He has strong purple and blue around his upper body and head, and fading dark green below. Now the colors in aura photos, they could be interpreted differently, but for the wheelchair guy, this is what I think they mean. He's amputated at the knees, and the dark green color near his lower body points to his loss of sensation there. The purple and blue could represent his spiraling mental state. He goes on long rants and longs for freedom. He wants to be free from the wheelchair. He even jokes about his legs growing back. Maybe that's not really a joke after all. He says, wandering free, wish I could be. The homeless man has the same visitor aura as the wheelchair guy. I won't analyze the visitor aura yet, I'll come back to it later. As a human, he's got orange and red spots for his body surrounded by green. His story is that he's a scavenger trying to find things to survive. Survival is what the red and orange colors mean. But he doesn't steal from the living, he says. What's a dead guy gonna do with a coat? Tell me you wouldn't take something off a corpse to save someone you love. The green in the photo could show his morals, his good intentions to help people around him even though he's struggling himself. The Amogus guy has a green body and background, some red in his hair, and black spots across his aura. At first glance, it looks like the camera got it right. But no, this is the human aura. The visitor version has a green and blue background with no black spots at all. Remember how aura photography was advertised as foolproof? We just proved it isn't. Of course, it's an ad. They need to sell their cameras. And when the world's falling apart, people crave certainty. They'll buy anything that makes them feel safe. You could say that AuraCam is hustling. And that's exactly what the Amogus guy does. He's a hustler. Before the cataclysm, he worked as a sports betting analyst who scammed his clients. His portfolio, quote unquote, is impressive. He made 30 mil in debt. As you keep talking to him, he gives you more hustle ideas. He wants to hand people into FEMA and get on their good side, and even wants to sell air. His aura photo is covered in dark green, which could stand for greed or his obsession with money. The dark spots could show his moral corruption. He's willing to turn people in just to get on FEMA's good side. The surgeon's human aura has black spots too. Yet again, the aura is inaccurate. But what does it mean though? The surgeon has a green aura and that red spot on his chest and black spots there. The red color in the aura could be the blood, which matches his lab coat. The color green, does that mean the surgeon could be obsessed with money too? Maybe, that could explain his profession, but it could also be explained when we look at his story. Before the cataclysm, he worked as a surgeon, but once it started, the hospitals became overrun and eventually shut down in favor of the FEMA quarantine zones. He wanted to keep helping, so he joined FEMA. But as he worked, he became more and more skeptical. FEMA kept introducing more signs, but with no reasoning behind them. He decided, this ain't it, chief. He started to falsify reports and help people to escape. The green in his aura could show his altruism. He helps others before himself. Even after the hospitals fell apart, he still wanted to help people by joining FEMA. And after he discovers that FEMA might not be trustworthy, he helped people escape from them. So far, we've seen each aura tell its own story, but what if some guests don't have their own aura? What if they share the same aura? Let's look at this one. This aura photo belongs to the blinded man who is always a human. The blinded man talks about a monster he calls it. It was eating the charred remains of humans. What he saw was so horrifying that he tore out his own eyes, hoping to erase it from his mind. But now, he mentions he sees nothing but an endless void. He also encounters it in his many nightmares. In one dream, he was strolling down the road, but it was following close behind. His aura photo makes perfect sense. His eye sockets are empty, and the photo reflects that, white, empty spots. The deep blue and purple could reflect the aforementioned endless void. Now I think that makes sense for a story, but if the blue color doesn't make sense to you, you have to admit that the white empty spots definitely do make sense. But the strange thing is, the suit guy and the seductive woman also have the same aura, but only if they are visitors. But they do have perfectly working eyes. Now remember when I said I wasn't going to analyze the homeless man's visitor aura? That's because visitor aura cannot be trusted. I think visitor photos are a lie. For the most part, they don't match with the guest's story. The visitor version of the wheelchair guy and the homeless man both have the empty black aura. This black aura could represent no emotion, no presence, like someone who has lost its human identity entirely. I don't think it suits either the homeless man or the wheelchair guy. What do you guys think? But let's look at another aura to hit that home. The morbid romantic speaks in poems about a mysterious girl he adored. You're immediately drawn to his left hand, notably darker than his other hand. It's suffering from gangrene. The human aura shows this too. You could see dark spots forming along his arm area. His visitor aura shows the dark spots too, but there's a difference. There's shadows of hands in the background, looking like they're reaching for the morbid romantic. It's unnatural. It's a lie. Now there's someone else who shares the morbid romantic's aura, the visitor version of the wounded man. If you look at the wounded man, yes, he's wounded at the hip, but both of his arms seem to be fine. So again, the visitor auras lie. The gravedigger, as you can tell from his name, digs graves. Although he's used to the dead, he had a frightening encounter with Visitor while digging a grave. When he was digging, his shovel hits a hand that was reaching out from the soil. His human aura photo seems fine, but his Visitor aura shows shadows behind him. It's unnatural, maybe scary. Here's an interesting character, the widow. Her husband was sick and was taken by FEMA. She decided to visit him, later discovering he was killed in the quarantine zone. Her aura photo reveals something interesting. There's a blue figure, that's her. But do you see something else? Behind her, there's a shadow of her husband, wrapping his hands around her like an embrace. You can see on the blue figure, the dark part of her chest, that's her husband's arm. What do you think about this? Do you think this is unnatural too? Fortune teller holds a symbol made from sticks on her right hand. In the kitchen, you can see her playing with tarot cards on the dining table. This is her human aura, a black object that looks like a noose around her neck. It could be the choker she's wearing, but that doesn't explain the vertical black line behind her head. Could the human aura also lie? It could stand for the Hanged Man tarot card, which symbolizes surrender and accepting your fate in the new world with visitors. But a more interesting idea is that it could stand for the fates of a guest that's in the kitchen too. That's what the fortune teller does, right? She can tell the fortune of a person. And that guest, we talked about him before in this video, it's the blinded man. The blinded man and the fortune teller share the same spot in the kitchen. Therefore, you cannot have both at the same time. I think this aura symbolizes the fate of the blinded man. When you finish the blinded man's conversations, you'll see him hanging the next day. This is what I think the fortune teller's aura is about. It's a warning, not a lie, but what do you guys think? Do you think it symbolizes something else? Now, you see, the aura photos reveal so much more about the characters in this game. Remember, the TV broadcast tells us it's a foolproof way to distinguish between a human and a visitor. Look for dark spots, they said, but it's not as simple. You'll need to know a bit more about the guest's story to determine if their aura is lying or if it's unnatural. In most cases, you'll need to look at the other signs too, like teeth or eyes. Check this video out, where I categorize every guest by their signs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around.